This is Sparta!
Hi there folks, it's Del back again from Spartan Racing. So this time we're going to do some setups for the Fanatec with Assetto Corsa Competizione. Now, even though they say this is the version 1.0.4, production release, I guess, it's still a bit iffy when it comes to VR, but I've also got some settings in VR that's actually made the game playable as well. But firstly, let's have a look at the wheel settings. Now, my wheel settings haven't changed, they've all stayed the same. I'm still using a rotation of 1080. I'm using 100% force feedback, 100% the shock. ABS is on 80, the force is on 100, the spring is on 100, the dampers on 100, natural dampening is 15, natural friction is on 0.05, force feedback intensity is on 100. So I've been using this for every sim and just making the changes within the actual software itself. As mentioned in the other videos, that the moment you change your wheel from 100% force feedback, you're not using the whole dynamic range of the wheel. So let's go in and have a look at the options that I've got set up for my controls. And as you can see here, what I've done is I've set up my gain to 29%. So that's given me a really good feeling at the moment through this sim. And I must admit, although the VR is a little bit on the iffy side, the gameplay is exceptional. They really can see where they're going with it, and it can only get better. Minimum forces I've got on 0, dynamic dampening on 100, and road effects I've got on 0. Now you can add a few little bits and pieces in here to maybe pick up a few of the road effects, but let's just leave that. As you can see, my steering lock is on 1080 to match my wheel, and a brake gamma is on 1. So everything is being controlled through the gain in the game. So I'm getting all the dynamic range of what the wheel can offer, and I'm then getting the force feedback being controlled by the game itself, and consequently I'm not getting any clipping whatsoever. So let's go back, and now I'm not really good at driving on a screen, but let's just pick something that'll do, and we'll get this up and running. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot an overlay as well with the wheel movements. So you can actually see the pressure that's being put on by the wheel itself. Now, yes, I wear gloves because I like to protect the Alcantara on the wheel. Okay, let's just go out for a drive. So at first it feels a little bit on the weak side, but it really starts kicking in once you get going. So again, the Ferrari down Monza. We're starting to feel it now. The one thing I do like Competizione has done is they've really added those forces well for when you're braking or when you're going up and down a rise. You really notice the extra weight on the wheel as well. Now, like I said, I'm not very good when it comes to racing just on a screen, so Please bear with me. So if you feel that this percentage is too low, then it's quite easy just to go into the game and change the actual gain setting. Oh, there we go. Oh, we saved it. It wasn't pretty, but hey. So, as you can see, I am having to work a wee bit. I mean, it probably could be a little stronger, but any more in a long race, you're really going to start feeling it in your wrists and your hands. Stop it there. Yep. So we can always just come back in and make adjustments to the gain here. So if I was to really kick that up, I'd really be fighting hard. I've had this up to about 50 or 60%, and it's just way too much. So yeah, I hope this one helps, and good luck with it. One thing I will add is I'm going to just have a look at some video settings here. Now, I've not got the VR plugged in, but this might help a little bit with some people with VR. So I've got the resolution scale set at 100% and epic view distance. Now I'm using an Oculus S. Shadows are high, and a 1080 Ti card. The anti-aliasing type, anti-aliasing, it's really important to have that on temporal. And as you can see from these settings, mid, high, mid, 20 meters, mid, mirror resolution is mid, 58 opponents. I've got 100% VR pixel density. This isn't grayed out when you've got VR plugged in. You can bring this up to 200%, but I haven't seen that it's made any difference. I've tried a number of different settings and it hasn't really made any difference. Material quality is high. Temporal upsampling is enabled, bloom, and as you can see from these other settings. Now, I've disabled this advanced sharpening filter, because what I've got is I've actually got my sharpening set here at 150%. Again, it's something that I've played backwards and forwards with, and I settled on 150%. Because I'm using the Oculus S, it's got a 80 frames per second limit on it anyway, so I just lock it down to 80. If you're using a Rift, you could probably put that 90, and so be it for whatever else you're using. So these are the settings that I'm using for my VR. Now, it's not great, but at least now it's actually playable in VR, where the first few releases it was unbelievably how bad it was, but it's starting to come good, and I'm starting to actually enjoy the sim, and I can use it in VR, so it is usable. Like I said, it's not Assetto Corsa great, but I'm sure they're going to get there. Anyway, thanks very much everybody. Hope you like that. Hit the subscribe button for me. I'd really appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one. Ciao.